hello everybody. Thanks for watching us today. So today we have another metrology talk. We invited a colleague from us. So today Marc is here, our CTO. He's from Spain, so his city is in Barcelona, and he's now today with me here in Germany and enjoying the German food.
Right, yeah, enjoying it.
Yeah, Marc, today we want to talk a little bit about the technical things.
Right.
This is why we invited you. Yeah. And so my general question where we can start is, why did you join a startup like us, like Eleven Dynamics? What was your decision to do that? Yeah?
I guess the main reason is to find a new challenge, right? When you are at companies that have some inertia, it's very easy to get stuck in a very particular job. It's very easy to be the specialist in something and just do that thing, and that gets tiring. And also the challenges are sometimes in big companies. The challenges are more about meetings and talking with people and all that. But in companies like ours, it's a much faster pace, and we do a lot more things. We talk less, basically, and that's what I like. I like building things. I like doing things. I like creating stuff. And in Eleven Dynamics, I have that opportunity every day. Not only on what I am best at, that is programming or like programming algorithmics, but even like helping in the automation of the business analytics, helping in the automation of the emails and all that, right? So you can really, in a company like ours, where innovation is a must, and we don't have huge resources that we can waste, we really have to, we like everything is a challenge that can be automated and either can it be solved in an easier way, right? And we don't need permissions to do things. We just see what is good and then we do it, right? So it's basically that's the aspect why I jumped. It was my first adventure in a startup, and this is why I stayed, and then why I don't really want to go back.
So you have worked before with Santiago,
right?
So since when do you know Santiago? When did you start to work together?
He hired me, basically, and he was my boss. That would be like 6 years ago, almost, like maybe 5.5, something like that. Yeah, so and then we worked like 2.5 years together. In 2.5 in another company, and then I switched with him after he left before, and then I joined him after a while, and now we've been working 3.5 here at Eleven Dynamics.
Yeah, a fantastic time together with you. It's quite impressive for me to see what you have already reached with the software, and that we have such a nice product. We have now 2 products. So we have Nexus Air, and we have Nexus 4.0. We want to talk now a little bit about the software. So we use software, but we have also hardware where we drive things and connect things. So what do you see as biggest challenge for us?
For us in the company, one of the biggest difficulties is that we are the brain. So it's good and bad at the same time. It's like we are the brain of the whole automation, right? Which means that we can control the processes. We can make a much more smoother automation because we basically control the hardware. But on the other hand, the drawback of that is that when the user sees that something doesn't work, it doesn't work in our software, right? You see the software like not connecting, not driving. It doesn't mean it's on our software, right? But the problem is that we are the front of that, so we're gonna always have to kind of do a subsidiary support or first level support for all the hardware that we support, right? Because the first person they're gonna talk to is us, because they're gonna say the software is not connecting, right? But it could be the drivers of the hardware. It could be that the hardware is not well installed. It could be that the hardware is not well connected. Sometimes it's even that it's not powered on, something as stupid as that. But that's the biggest challenge, right? For us, it's like that all that comes first to us, right? And we have to do a software that it's very reactive to that, and it gives you a lot of information, so the user, and with good documentation and with support and good support, so that we can fastly help the user overcome this challenge. And if it's a very deep hardware problem, then direct them to the hardware manufacturers. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we have.
Yeah, like for example, when I imagine we have a customer and the software is running and everything is okay, but then for example somebody is unplug something and then the software is still doing the same, but I don't have the connection, and then I think the first point of contact is
it's us always. Yes, it's us, which is also good because we are very good with the support. We're very fast because we are very aware that most of the times it's very simple things, but the people need the support to be able to know what to do, right? And that's so how we are solving this challenge now is like there's no way around it. It's just we have to be there and we have to be good, very good at support with very good documentation, very good tutorials, so that the engineers or the person or the operators that work with our software feel comfortable and know that we're gonna help them solve the problems, even if it's not our problem, right? Because that's our responsibility as a software that manages everything, is to make sure that everything works. That's one of the biggest challenges, right? It's not the software, it's not developing, it's the responsibility of having to make everything work together, right?
So the idea of the software is to have this open platform.
Right.
And when we started, we had only some robots and some sensors. How difficult is it when we check today? We deal with several robotic companies, we deal with several software companies for inspection and everything. We deal with several hardware. How difficult is it that all this hardware is always on the latest installation files, so that everything is on track?
Yeah, how to keep up with how the hardware evolves and everything. Well, yeah, it's definitely the most work that we have, right? Because what we're trying to do is we are unifying all these differences of the hardware, so we make it easier for the user, right? Because before, the problem for the user was like, okay, now I have this robot, now I have this other robot, and now it's like, fuck, it's a completely different software. It's like, now I have to learn again everything, right? It's horrible for them. And that's what we're doing for them. It's like, no, you have one platform, and we deal with all the problems of hardware versions, new hardware, new configurations that you need to do. We ease that process, right? So that's our value. So yeah, it's super painful for us, for developers. It's horrible. But that's the value that we bring to the customer. So and we happily do it. And at some point, what is also true is that hardware, we are developing software is much faster than developing hardware. So we can catch up pretty fast, right? We just have to be, you have to be good, you have to be always on your toes, ready for the new hardware, for the new things. But we can react much quicker than if you have a hardware problem, right?
So when I think about the process, so for the future, do you see, for example, that when we hire people, they are going to be responsible for, let's say, different type of hardwares, or is it more that somebody is really responsible for only one hardware? How to deal with that? Yeah.
Well, I think that this is the trade-off that I talked at the beginning. Like what I liked about this company is like having a bit more broad view, right? So it is also true that once you work a bit with the hardware, you become a specialist, and it's much easier for you to work with that hardware. But I would not do technical islands based on hardware, because that's a bad idea, because usually what you do with one hardware is very similar to what you do with another hardware. The knowledge that you have with one can help with the other, and the problems that you see with one can help with the others also. So no, I would not go for okay, you're responsible for this hardware and only that. I like to have a more multidisciplinary team that is able to cover for each other, and also because you cannot have, like, the knowledge that has to be spread. Otherwise, if if one day someone is sick, the company and the support needs to keep happening, which means that the knowledge has to be spread reasonably, right? As considering the trade-off that, I mean, if you've worked with hardware for a long time, you're gonna be much faster doing something on that hardware, right? So that's the trade-off.
So if you speak about people and the structure, what is a typically profile for a guy who fits in your team? What do you think is there necessary?
Well, this is not so much about the specific knowledge that they need to have. It's more about the character or the way they have to work. Because that's what happens, right? We find a lot of new and small challenges every time we do new projects, every time a new hardware comes. All of these times they are new, exciting, but difficult things, you know. So it's like exciting challenges, right? Again, back to the first question. That's what I love. So what we need is people that actually is able to take those challenges on their own, and that doesn't get scared about just going for it or finding the solution, right? As a company, you want people that just work on their own, right? Like that they're not sitting idle for someone to tell them what to do, but that they just do what they think is best for the company, right? I'd rather have that someone that sits still, right? I'd rather have someone make errors, make mistakes, than just sitting and waiting because he's afraid of doing something. Because we have to solve a lot of challenges.
Let's talk a little bit about the future of the software. So we are very deep in the metrology things, but what I understand, you going more and more for different type of applications. How can we imagine that? What is the plan there?
Right, so from the software perspective, it's very simple. It's like, it's just the same, that like all the software algorithms, everything that we have in the software works well for a sensor, a metrology sensor, works well for a spraying gun, for a welding gun, even for combination of robots and factories, one welding, one spraying, like complex tasks, right? Like we are on the business of automation. Our niche is metrology. And the main reason why we started that is because it's one of the most challenging ones to do automation, because it's very particular, it changes a lot, each sensor, each hardware behaves differently, so the simulation needs to be really powerful. But the engine that we have, the simulation engine that we have with all the collision tools, all the validation, all the automatic planning, and all the robots, and all the sensors, all the ingredients are there. And now it's, to be honest, the challenge is more about convincing or finding what applications we can go to next, and convincing the customers to go with our software, because it's going to make their lives easier than actually making the software for that.
Sounds for me fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, more applications means also more work for me.
Yeah.
And also for my team then, because I think we need then several types of sales guys there.
Yeah.
Because every application, let's say, has its own language.
Yeah.
And therefore I see a big future for all of us.
Yeah.
Marc, thank you very much for your time today. And it's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
And I think we will continue with some more technical things and interviews in the future. And thanks for everything, Marc.
Thank you for being on the team.
Yeah.
You're the best.